composition, the project for it. I'm going to show you all the bits and pieces that I added to make this composition happen. I started off with a chord progression going from E minor to E7 flat 9 and then ended in A minor. I actually magpied this from a Mozart piece. So yeah, I'll link that below. But yeah, I started off with these cello section with a compressor and EQ just to get rid of the really low ranges. This effects plugin, but not really doing a whole lot, just adding a little bit of punch and compressing it a bit again with a bit of master gain, and then I added some reverb just quite high. I then added these violas playing some higher notes, just following the chord progression, but just, you know, playing either third and fifths or the root notes. I did add this ABAB section at the start for this orchestral intro, which I added in some more violins playing roughly the same stuff, some saxophone, I believe, yeah, which is playing pretty much the same thing. I added this bell thing as well, which is playing an arpeggio, which I could be wrong, but I think, yeah, I have it here, which I slowed it down just to give it a more eerie effect, more spacious, and I added a sub bass. This first 4 bars repeats on the third set of 4 bars, and then this second 4 bars here repeats here, except I added another set of violins higher up. And yeah, I forgot to add, I had this lead, it sounds almost like a brass, so yeah, I added that. Also between each of these sections, the B section, I have a bass that swells in, and also this brass pad that also swells in as well. Now to the main section, I have this little bridge before the drums come in. I just kept the bells and the sub bass, just playing on their own with a guitar, a really distorted guitar. I used a compressor, this pedal board with overdrive and distortion. Got some delay, some reverb, and an EQ to just knock out those higher tones, so it's not as pingy, it's almost spacious. Yeah, I just played a lead. It was quite low down, and I repeat this here, here, and here. Just with this time, it has yeah. Just I believe this one doesn't usually have delay, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. This is the almost a fill, but it's the like the Segway guitar that just plays the root note, and it swells up into playing an E than an F. So those notes being a semitone apart adds more tension to the song. Yeah, so that's kind of the swell into the next bit. That has a lot of delay as well to carry out through, so it doesn't just stop instantly, and a lot of reverb. For the drums, we have a kick that just plays every half bar, with the inclusion of 1/8 note there. We have, yeah, and that doesn't really have any effects. That's just from a drum kit that I've downloaded in my own time. We also have 2 uses of orchestral kit. I believe this one has is just slightly different to that one. Yeah, well, it's just a bit quieter, just so I can really compress all of the drums. We have we have some metal clap, some toms, just playing a pretty simple pattern, just following the kick, and we have another tom, a much lower tom and a snare, and then 2 very similar toms just swelling into each other to act as more of like a fill. We also have this eerie perk loop that almost sounds like castanets, but just from the EQ and the distortion, it makes them seem lower down and not quite as pingy as castanets. I also took a hat and I brought it down from the third C, which is where it would usually be played, and I played it down here, and that gave it a like a shush kind of thing, and that added it as like a crash maybe. I don't know. With the bass line, I just added this. It's just a regular bass with compression. Just to compress, sidechain it with the kicks, so when the kick and the bass play at the same time, they're not interfering with each other and stuff, etc. So yeah, those are the drums. Very cool. We then again we have that swell, which goes into a bit of a grander section where I add these bells, which have a tremolo just to go from ear to ear. Got a compressor, some distortion. I also shifted it down at 12 just to get that muddy feel, while also cutting out the muddy parts, just so it's darker, more lo-fi. Yeah, it just makes it so much better with the reverb and more side chaining on the kick, just so when everything ducks out, it just sounds better. For the actual sample, which I haven't gone through yet, I had multiple. I took the bells and the sub bass, and then I added a siren, a vocal clip, just of me singing. For these two, it's just me singing, but I pitched them down or up, and this was another. This was another just vocal chop, but from that same pack that I used. So yeah, for the guitar, I originally had just a lead here, which I wanted to replace. So I just added that, which had quite a lot of pitch bend, I believe. Yeah, just so you get more eerie feel, and it kind of slides down slowly. It's almost creepy. And then I came around to imitating that with the guitar, with just an octave higher than this one. And then I did eventually use the actual lead, just to play another octave. So we've got 3 octaves of the same pattern going here, and that's where you really feel the grandness of the track here, is in this little 4-bar section. For the guitar, I believe that is on the old track, if I can just find that. Yeah, here. So I recorded the guitar 4 different segments just to get because it was a lot of bending, so you had to make sure that the pitch was perfect. I compressed the ensemble, same pedal board with the same distortion, delay, reverb, and EQ in the high ends again, just so it's not as pingy. So yeah, that's pretty much the main thing. And then I had just the bells here, with ducking the drums for a bit, and then here we got rid of the bells just for 8 bars, and I just had this bottom octave of the guitar without any bass either, just so we get almost like a bridge feel before we get the main chorus, which is right at the end, which is just a copy of this one, just twice. And then the outro is just a sub bass and a guitar there. Thinking of it now, I haven't actually gone through the effects on this brass lead sort of thing. We got delay, distortion, reverb, compressed it with the reverb, and then once again we got just EQing out the bass, so we just get that sub bass. And yeah, that's the project. Yeah, and it's only 2 minutes 25. So yeah, very exciting track. I do love the guitar parts and all the eeriness of it. So yeah, the percussions. Yeah, big fan.